Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's only me again, and today we are out doing some metal detecting, but the aim of today's video is to test out the XP Deus II's brand new firmware 1.10. So it's a slightly updated version to the 1.0 version that they released quite recently. I did a little video on it, and of course I wasn't too happy with it. I found a few problems with the actual firmware itself, and it was just falsing. I pretty much wasted 3 days in the field, to be honest with you. I honestly think that it would have found me all of the nice bits. I'm really not worried about that, but it was just playing up something rotten, and I just needed to make a video, and I wanted to let you guys know that obviously I didn't think it was quite ready to be installed yet. But I came home the other night, XP had let me know that they'd released a brand new version, so I installed it on the remote and I went out in the test garden, gave it a little go, and so far it seems pretty good. But today is going to be the test because of course we're out in the field. There's plenty of iron in this field, but hopefully there's going to be plenty of good bits as well. Let's put it through its paces, guys, see what it can do, so stay tuned for that. And that just leaves me to say thank you very much for watching the video today. If you want to support the channel and support what I do, then of course give me a thumbs up. And if you want to be notified every time I upload a video, then hit that subscribe button as well. But that's enough talking, let's get testing. I'll see you on the first hole. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn our remote on. You'll see that I am going to be running version 1.1, and I downloaded it without any issues at all. One thing I'm going to say is that when I downloaded version 1.0, it took a little bit of time, but when I downloaded the new version 1.1, it was so quick. It just, honestly, it just flashed it so quick. And bearing in mind that it's got to erase the NVM chip before it actually installs the new firmware, it did it all so quickly. So whatever XP have done, they've certainly ironed out all the issues they had with their cloud update server for sure. So that is definitely a plus. So we are now on the program number 1 general. We turned it on, so we haven't made any tweaks whatsoever. And I'm just going to quickly run through some of the logs that they've fixed. Bug fixes essentially is what they've called it. And it looks like they have fixed the remote rebooting issue. I didn't actually have that problem, but I did see some people online that had some issues with the remote control just rebooting itself. They've also fixed the WS6 freezing issue. Now, some people, when they downloaded version 1.0, it got to the end, didn't install the software, but then just froze on the update screen. So it seems that they have properly fixed that now, because I haven't seen one person or talked to anybody that has had that happen. So great stuff, XP, really what we want to hear. The other good thing as well is that if you go into most of the preset programs, and this was one of my bugbears, I couldn't understand why they would turn this particular setting off. So you have to go into settings, go down, and then you've got ferrous target identification. Now, on version 1.0, they had it turned off, and I couldn't figure out why, because every previous machine has always let you see the VDI numbers of ferrous. So if you were kind of hoping to just turn this on and kind of have a head start because you'd used the XP Deus II before, it would have been a totally different experience, and I think people would have started to question why the VDI screen was behaving so differently. And one thing that they have done, which is absolutely fantastic in my opinion, is they have now turned on ferrous target identification for a lot of the programs, which is good, and that just means that essentially you're going to be able to see all of those ferrous VDI numbers. I get that's not going to be for everybody, okay, but you know, the Deus 1 and the Deus 2, which have both had target identification screens with VDI numbers have always let you see those ferrous numbers. And you know, it's another tool in the box. You need to be using it. I get that people only listen to their audio, and that's absolutely fine. I do as well, but it's really, really handy to have those VDI numbers pop up just to give you a little bit more of an idea as to what you're dealing with if you're unsure about the target. So the programs that affects are program 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. So one of the other things that they've sorted out as well is they have sorted out the silencer. So I'm imagining that this was the issue with the iron falsing on 1.0. It's important to point out at this stage that not everybody had the issue, and I completely get it. You know, some people were saying it's the best thing since sliced bread. Other people were saying it's completely unusable, just like I was in a sense. So I'm not really too sure why some people suffered with it and some people didn't. Maybe it was an issue with the download. Maybe it was corrupting the files as it was going through. It's a good question. I'm not too sure. But what XP is saying is they're saying that they have changed the way that the silencer works now, and they've reverted it back to the same sort of silencer that they were using in the 0.71 firmware. And you know, I haven't sort of tested it out in the field. I have been in my test garden with it, and I must say so far it hasn't falsed on iron, and iron now is ringing up kind of around the sort of 9, 10, where it used to be, where it should be. Whereas before on version 1.0, it was coming up in the 80s, and it was so strange. Honestly, it was almost undetectable, especially because, you know, you've taken the time to learn this machine inside out, and then all of a sudden you go out with it and it just behaves totally differently. So as I said previously, not everybody had this problem. It was pretty evident looking at the forums, looking at all the sites, kind of looking at everybody's different perspectives on trying it out in the field, whether it was in their test garden or on the beach or whatever. Everybody had a very different experience with 1.0, and that was quite strange for me, because that made me think that actually either maybe XP knew that it was something that they possibly did wrong, or it was something completely out of their control that went wrong during the download process. But it was quite strange. But I mean, my friend, we both downloaded it at the same time. He went out with it a couple of days ago, and he was using 1.0, and he said it was fine. He said the iron falsing was absolutely fine. Bearing in mind we detect in very similar permissions and on very similar sites, he didn't have the problem as bad as what I did. And I tried every factory program. A lot of you guys in the comments said, oh, you know, your audio response is too high, or this is too high. I tried it on the factory programs first, and then I tried to customize it to try and iron out all of those falsings. So I really did try, guys. I wanted it to work. I wanted it to be good. I love the new features of the new firmware. I love the, you know, the way that you can customize so much more in terms of the volume of each of your VDI segments. That is a really, really powerful tool. For instance, if you've got high conductors set at sort of 79 upwards, you can make those the loudest, and all of the rest can be a lot quieter, which would be absolutely excellent in a field which is completely tarnished with iron and mineralized. You know, you could really pick out those good targets. So we're going to give it a test today and see what it's like. I'm pretty sure it's not going to do any iron falsing because, as I say, I've already tested that in my garden, but I'm really keen to see what it's like on a field that I've been to many times before. I know there's iron in here, but let's just see how it punches, how it reacts to all the different sounds. And guys, I just want to kind of reassure you, because there's no point in me putting out a video that says, don't download this, it doesn't work, when I'm not going to back it up, when XP have done the decent thing and released an update that fixes all of those bugs in a matter of days. So, you know, I at least can kind of say this one works or it doesn't, but I will always give you my honest point of view. So let's give it a little test in the field, guys. Let's listen to it, see how it sounds, and yeah, hopefully we get some good results. It's just a little very thin piece of copper alloy, but it stopped me because we'd found a very small piece of copper alloy, so we can't moan about that. That's what we want the machine to do. That could have been a lot of targets, but unfortunately this time it's just a little piece of scrap metal. So we run up and down the field just once, all the way to the end, all the way back down. My first impressions of version 1.10, it's a lot better. It's behaving exactly how you would expect the XP Deus to behave. It still falses on iron, I know that, everybody knows that. Every machine falses on iron, but don't forget that was on the bog standard program number 1 general with no modifications whatsoever, and everybody expects it to do that. The problem I had was that it was pinging up and being consistent in those 80s, which, you know, no detector should ever behave like that, because you've got to have quite good confidence in your detector, because if you don't, then your day is going to be so compromised. If you know that you're going over ground and everything you go over, if there's something good in there, you're going to get it, then trust me, your morale that day will be absolutely spot on, and it will reflect so greatly what you find and what you bring home. And that's the key thing. You need to have confidence in your metal detector, and I've been up and down this field once or twice already on the program number 1 general, and it's not falsing. Absolutely fantastic. But guys, with regards to the last video, obviously I changed quite a few things. I bumped the audio up as well. But let's modify it, and let's see if we go up and down again, whether or not I get falsing like I did the last time I modified it, and let's see what happens then. So I've made a few modifications to program number 1 general, and I think they're going to enhance my experience, but they certainly shouldn't be hindering my experience. So let's have a look, see what I've changed. I've kept the discrimination at 10. And I've moved to my 3 tones. I always use 3 tones on PWM, and it's got my certain tone segments in there, so it might sound a little bit different to the first run, but we'll see how it is, see how we go. No bottle cap discrimination. I've got a little bit of notch in there because there is quite a bit of coke in this field, and that does seem to notch it out, so I'm going to just show you that. And I've got my silencer on 1, nowhere near the silencer 5 that we were on before when we were playing around with version 1.0. And sensitivity 94, frequency max is on 40, iron volume is on 8, like to hear a bit of iron, reactivity is on 2.5, and audio response is on 6. Okay, I'm just going to stop right there. I can hear you all already going, audio response on 6, what are you doing? Guys, the fact of the matter is, audio response, according to the manual, should only enhance deep, faint targets. That is the idea of audio response. It will focus more on the high conductive, higher numbers and boost them through. I agree that there might be a chance that it will affect falsing and obviously boost it up, but that's not what it's designed to do. And if you experience that when you're going over iron and things like that and your audio response is on high, trust me, that's not what it's supposed to do. So I like it high, you know, it's handy to hear all the deeper things. That's just a personal preference to me. So I've ramped it back up to those sort of numbers today to see whether or not it does false. But guys, you've got to remember that if you're ramping your audio response up and it's falsing on iron, you've got to ask yourself a question. Why is it falsing to begin with? Because it shouldn't be. It should be buzzing on iron, or whatever tone discrimination you've set on iron, and you should be able to just ramp up the audio response without it affecting falsing. But guys, those are the settings that I've put into the General 1 program. Let's go up and down this field and see what sort of a difference that makes. So it's nothing amazing, but just gone and found a little Shotty Shell. So, you know, I'm sure before that would have probably been iron, but it's just a little copper alloy Shotty Shell. At least it's not a ferrous metal. So as you can see, we've now moved up and all the way back down the field, detecting with that tweaked program number 1 General. And did it false? No. Was the audio response high? Yeah, I like it high. I want to hear deep targets. Was it quiet? Was it stable? Yes, it was. So, you know, people were experiencing a general issue with it. And a lot of people out there say, oh, you know, it's user error. You don't know what you're doing with it. Trust me, you know, I've been using a Deus now for 11 years, and before that I was using the Gold Max for probably about 5 or 6 years. So I like to know what I kind of have a bit of an idea with regards to what the settings do and how they can affect me. But one thing I knew for sure was that when I tried version 1.0, it just didn't work properly for me. But again, I know that it worked really well for other people, so I don't know what's going on there. I doubt whether we'll ever get an answer on that either. So that's pretty much it for the field test. I'm happy with it. Would I recommend you to download this and put it into your remote? Yeah, I would. Absolutely. Put it in there. It's all the benefits of version 0.6 and 0.71 with all the updated features of the new sort of generation of firmwares beginning with 1. It works well, it's stable, high conductors at depth sound amazing on these new versions. Trust me, they are totally different. So I really do recommend it. Bearing in mind, I've only used it obviously for a few hours, but you know, I'm pretty happy with it. And I don't want this video to drag on because the last one went on way too long. But we've got one more test to do, and that's something I spotted on the previous version, and I'm pretty sure XP have fixed it this time. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so if you remember from the previous video, I said something about the equalizer not working very well. Well, odd thing, it now does. So if they haven't put it in their list of bug fixes, however, miraculously, the equalizer now does exactly what it's supposed to do. So I just want to demonstrate with that now. I have on the floor a massive chunk of bronze, which is actually a medieval pot leg. And we are in program number 1, General. And what we're going to do, guys, is I'm just going to let you listen to it now with the audio completely normal, so the equalizer hasn't been changed. So let's do that now. Okay, so we've now gone into the audio settings. We've navigated our way to the equalizer, and as you can see at the moment the equalizer is off. And basically what that means is that all of the normal equalizers across the frequency bands of the audio are completely normal. And I'm just going to let you listen to the pot leg again, and then what we'll do is we'll alternate it between off, where every single equalizer is dropped down by -12 decibels. And as I said before, that should have made a huge difference. Will it make a huge difference now? Let's give it a go. So there we have it. As you can see, everything works as normally. Equalizer works, target identification works, it stopped iron faulting. I'm so happy about that, honestly I am. And there's all the other little bug fixes as well. They've turned on the ferrous target identification. XP, in all fairness to them, have listened to us and they've actually changed it. And let me tell you something, I don't know a lot about their programming or their procedures or anything like that, but I do know a fair bit about customer service. And XP took a matter of days to listen to everybody's response, all the issues people were having with it, and they changed it and they put it out very, very quickly. And I don't know many other companies that would actually do that or even bother to actually, you know, appease their customers and their fan base. So XP, huge thumbs up from me, honestly, so chuffed. I can't wait to actually get out and do some proper detecting with this, you know, give it some real good hard hours in the field. And guys, if I do see anything else particularly that I think isn't quite right with it, then I will put a video up here and I will show you all what the issue is. But I'm so happy that they have sorted it out. And as I said to you before, I wanted to do this video, just a quick video, just to say that I think all the bugs now have pretty much gone. And if you were holding back on downloading it, and I don't blame you if you were, because you know it was a bit of a mess there for a couple of weeks, I would download it. I really would. Get out there and get learning all these new features as much as you can, get using it, because one thing I'm going to be sure about is that you're going to absolutely love it when you hear those high conductors. So guys, that's it. That's the video today. Thank you very much for watching. Again, if you want to support the channel and you want to support what I do, then please consider to drop me a thumbs up. And of course, if you want to see any more videos that I upload, then nice and easy, one button below, just hit subscribe. But until the next time, I will see you all on the next hole.